Welcome back to Vital Signs. We are diving deep here with retired Colonel Mikel Burroughs, and we are talking about eliminating medical debt, gifting that to our community, and how that's done. I want to dive a little bit deeper into this because medical
Sure.
debt isn't just a financial issue. It impacts our mental health, it causes stress, it impacts our access to care, it impacts our entire community. So what if we could break the cycle? Michael, you've said this isn't just about money, it's about restoring dignity. How does
Yeah, yeah.
eliminating debt transform not just individuals, but also our communities?
Well, it does. It really, really does. One thing that I do have to specify is we have not done a study, but we're thinking about doing a study. We're working with a couple of universities to do some deeper dives, right, on how this is affecting people mentally, how is it affecting their mental health. So I can't really talk to that, from an expert standpoint, but just being a veteran myself, right, being a combat veteran and coming back, after serving a year in the combat zone, right? If you come back and you've got all this debt, I mean, I can tell you from a veteran standpoint, I think it would have a huge effect, especially if you come back with, post-traumatic stress, or you've got a traumatic brain injury, or, some type of invisible wound, right? And now you've got all this debt hanging over your head. I can tell that for me personally, yeah, it would put my life at such a stressor. And I can tell you that, to date, we've relieved about 126 million just for veterans alone, which have affected 74,000 individuals. And again, I don't have the science. I'm not an expert. I can't tell you that it's helped them mentally, but from my standpoint in serving, I could tell you that it would help me, and it would take a big, big responsibility off of my shoulders.
And I understand that we don't necessarily have the research linking that, but we do know that financial stress is one of the biggest stressors for most people. And there's also a shame that accompanies debt a lot
Right.
of times, especially for individuals who we're working, we're doing what we're supposed to do, and we just can't seem to make ends meet. And it just sort of, burdens us. And when we have that medical insult to injury, if you will, it's just more than what we can bear. And there's a lot of people feeling this, but I think that secret, like it's a secret shame that we hurt because we don't want to talk about it. Nobody wants to talk about the
Right.
debt that they have. And
Right.
just having that lifted up, I think that's about dignity. That's about saying, hey, you know what? I see you. I see you working hard. And here's this gift. We don't have to worry about this part anymore. So I
And
think
that's
it's
what
amazing.
and that's what we find out when we work with the hospitals. A lot of hospitals, look, I would never badmouth a hospital, right? They have got a lot of hospitals out there, a lot of our nonprofit hospitals have excellent financial aid programs, but just like you said, right? Sometimes people are embarrassed that they've got to fill out the paperwork for financial aid, okay? And they might not fill it out, or the paperwork's so extensive, they might not get it in a timely manner. And for whatever reason, people do slip through the cracks, but it's not on purpose. Okay. It's not on purpose. And that's what we try to tell our hospitals. Look, we just want to go in. Our number one priority is to help the patients. And, we'll give you a little bit of money on the side, right, for some of this bad debt to kind of help out. But, you know, our number one priority is the patient. No doubt about it. No doubt about it.
Absolutely.
There's some people that won't even go back to the hospital, right?
Yep.
Because they're embarrassed about the money that they own.
And that impacts our communities. So I know you have dedicated a lot of your work to underserved areas. Why are these communities disproportionately affected, and how do you prioritize them?
Well, again, we prioritize it based on the donors and based on the communities that come to us. Okay. So, a good example, and this has been publicized in the news, so I can kind of talk it. It's like Cook County, right? So Cook County put up a bunch of money to help people in the Cook County area. And so, we've reached out to all of those hospitals, and a lot of the big hospitals have stepped up, and they've allowed us to evaluate their debt. And we've been able to relieve a lot of debt just in the Cook County area. And a lot of areas within Cook County, there are some areas that are really good, and there are some areas that are really, really, they're a lot a lot less. The income levels are a lot lower. So, when communities, when counties come together like that and they make a decision from a governmental standpoint that, hey, we're going to help our community, it will make a big, big, big difference, right? But then we do get a couple donors that just say, hey, I want to abolish a debt across the country, right? And so we've got accounts across the country. And so we're able to help people in different pockets, that have lower income, or they might not be as close to bigger facilities, right? They're dealing with a 25-bed acute facility and they've got to go further, to get to the bigger hospitals.
I want to emphasize to everybody who's watching, the communities reach out about this. So how can people reach out if maybe they want to be a donor, or if they want to raise awareness about this, or maybe they're part of a nonprofit organization, or somebody who would put up some of the donation money in order to help their communities? How can they reach out to you?
Right. They just need to go out to the web and they just need to Google Undue Medical Debt, go to the website, and there's a place where they can send a message saying, "Hey, look, I want to be a donor. I want to start a campaign, or I'm part of a faith-based group. We really love this. We want to get the church involved, or we're a big corporation and we'd love to get our employees involved on this, and work together to abolish debt here in the community." And like I said, I would love to get more donors, in the Houston, Texas area, and the surrounding areas, throughout the state. I think we could make a big impact. We could make a big difference. We've got a lot of hospitals here wanting to do business with us as well, but it's donor driven. So, that's another thing that people need to know, right? If hospitals come to us and we don't have a big donor in the area, then we've got to find those donors that, want to help those people.
Okay, so let's talk numbers. You've already forgiven over 15 billion. Yes, folks, that's with a B. 15 billion in medical debt, with a goal of 20 billion more. What's needed to get there?
Um, hey, just more donors, just just more companies and faith-based groups out there saying, hey, we really want to make an impact on medical debt. I mean, I don't know the exact figures, but I think we got somewhere in the neighborhood of around 240, $250 billion in debt, across this country right now. And so we're just kind of scratching the surface. It's a big scratch, don't get me wrong. 15 billion is a lot, and we've helped over 10 million individuals and families, and that's huge. And I think that we're going to do so much more before the end of this year. We've got some big donors out there. You guys have heard of Mackenzie Scott, right? Mackenzie Scott's donated over $150 million to our organization, and that's huge. So, we've got some throughput here, but every state is different, and we've got to make sure that we've got donors in those states.
So I'm just gonna, before I ask the next question, if you're watching this and you're like, holy cow, this is something that I care about, I want you to make sure that you pay attention to this and write down the next answer, because this is how we as a community mobilize and help our fellow members here in Houston, or even across the country. So if a hospital executive, a donor, a city leader, or somebody who works in a large organization is watching right now that could potentially partner with you, what is the first step that they can take to partner with you and bring this gift to their community?
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. They can go out to Undue Medical Debt, right, .org, and they can communicate that way. But you know what? I live right here in Conroe, Texas, right? So if you want to put my email address out there, it's mburrows, okay, at unduemedicaldebt.org. Get in touch with me and I can hook you up right away with the people at the home office, and we can get this thing going. So yeah, I don't have any problems with that. And if hospitals, want to partner with us, and, they've got people out there that are willing to donate, within their community, they can reach out to me as well. But unduemedicaldebt.org is really the fastest way. You can get it to me, but keep in mind, I'm always on the phone with CFOs and hospitals just trying to get their debt so we can get it evaluated and we can relieve debt for individuals around the country.
So there it is, folks. You know, I like to have an action step to every episode. Your action step is if you are in a position to donate or you're in a position to swing the head of someone who could make this decision, you're in an organization that's large, that is always looking for community outreach, get in touch with Mikel. It's so incredibly important that we lift our community up. That is our action step of the day. Mikel, this story is so powerful. It's so much more than debt and finance. It really is about healing. I really appreciate you bringing your story, your expertise, and opening the door in our community to maybe make a difference and a big impact. Thank you for the work that you're doing and for being here today. If there was one last share you would have for our audience, what would it be?
Yeah, I just look, if you're out there and you want to make a difference in the community, you know what to do. We're a 501c3 organization, so all of this is tax deductible. And you know what? People in the community, people in this state can make a huge difference for the state of Texas and for a lot of individuals that are underwater. They can make a difference. And I love the fact that I get to wear a white hat and help make that difference.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And you, yes, you, unfortunately, all good things come to an end, including this episode. But the good news is we will be here same time, same station next week. So until then, have an amazing rest of your day.
This has been a Now Media Networks feature presentation. All rights reserved.